as we take a look at the teams, one key thing to note is that Alone Sandslash on the side of OutOfPoket is Powder Snow. Shadow Claw is the move of choice on the Alone Sandslash of Ilqm's team, and we saw how that played out against Nighttime Clasher.
Yeah, it was just absolutely brutal that Ilqm was able to take all that Powder Snow damage because it's double resisted at such little health to even get into this position. At some point, both of us thought he was out of it against Nighttime Clasher, and it suddenly feels like you blink, he's here in the grand finals to meet OutOfPoket. This is the first competition for this trainer, Ilqm, in this new meta, OutOfPoket as well, but they're proving again and again why they are the best of the best, able to adapt to these changing situations, and I'm fascinated to see how this matchup plays out. I feel like Craydilly has a lot of safe play into Ilqm's team, and Lapras, on the other hand, has been a featured Pokemon from Ilqm these last couple series, but I don't think it's as strong against OutOfPoket's team.
I don't think so either. However, there is Dazzling Gleam on that Shadow Sableye, which has come in handy for OutOfPoket in so many situations, especially against that Guzzlord on the side of Ash and Ash. But it's not as good into the jump up in Lapras because of that. Yeah. The lack of power gem, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be fantastic into that Alolan Sandslash, but yeah, has that Shadow Claw to be able to do neutral fast attack damage into it. And then it's pretty neutral with that Claydol. Obviously, you're going to be resisting those sideways, but looks like we're about to get these grand finals started. It's gonna be OutOfPoket versus Ilqm, and I was wrong because Lapras is in that first battle, but it's in not a negative situation. It only loses the zeros versus this Shadow Drapion. All you need to do is Protect Shield or Crunch, and you're in decent position.
Yeah, this is why Lapras is so strong, right? Even though you're throwing resisted sidewave damage, you would think that taking only neutral damage, more neutral damage, I should say, over the Drapion would be the one that flips it, but the bulk on the side of Lapras is too strong, and if you get hit by one Sparkling Aria, you're in sidewave range.
Yeah, and that's why the Lapras can win that one Protect Shield situation. Here comes the next Crunch, and actually gets Protect Shielded here. So looks like Ilqm wants to take the alignment. He has some new meta with the Lapras, and he has the old meta. He's running ABA, Double Water, and Shadow Drapion here to start us off. And swapping out, trying to catch a move onto the Azumarill, but this is so dangerous because now Ilqm was able to bank all of that energy with those sideways and then swap into his own Azumarill.
Yeah, left with double Sparkling Aria, and a lot of these trainers are already showing us winning switch doesn't even matter that much. Ilqm knows he's behind on energy, a lot, really behind actually, compared to OutOfPoket, so he's likely going to lose his head-to-head matchup if no extra shields are spent on his end, but I think he's comfortable with that.
And at this point, once these Azumarills throw a bunch of play roughs, you can always get back to your timer anyway. And that's why Azumarill has been top usage for just so long. It's such a safe swap, especially when you get to these condensed metas later into a tournament. Feels like pivoting to Azumarill is always a viable option.
And I think we potentially could see a swap out from OutOfPoket soon on that Shadow Drapion once the move is thrown. And Ilqm going to wait for that bubble to come through to make sure he lands the play rough on the Azumarill in case there might be, I don't know, a Lone Sandslash in the back which will be resisted.
Looks like a swap is coming into the Shadow Drapion for OutOfPoket. And he's going to try to get, oh no, there's a counter swap by Ilqm. Now you're going to have to use your last Protect Shield of the battle unless you want to waste all of that energy that you gain. But there's back-to-back available. Will it be on charge attack priority from OutOfPoket? Yes!
All right, getting the crunch through, but this also means that he can't clear the Drapion. Well, I guess he's locked in, so he would have been hit by Sparkling or Aria either way. So that's actually pretty good for OutOfPoket because now that means Ilqm can't come away with any extra energy on that Lapras for whatever's in the back. Sableye, though, might go for a very aggressive farm down at this point in time. That's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to come in, resisting all the sideway damage. Can Ilqm get to one more Sparkling Aria? He does reach it. Go for the Ice Beam instead, the harder hitting move.
Because Ice Beam will do more damage than Sparkling Aria. The problem is the Shadow Drapion taking the Dazzling Game is going to do a ton of damage here. Ice Beam does land, chokes into that Shadow Sableye, but Shadow Sableye does have an opportunity to sweep this entire battle for OutOfPoket here. Here comes the Drapion. No swap yet. No swap at all because one Dazzling Gleam isn't going to be quite enough, but it's going to do a huge chunk into the Shadow Drapion.
And the Dazzling plus a foul play will be enough, but in comes the Azumarill, from Ilqm as well. Going to be a mirror matchup here. Oh, Ilqm reaching for the Ice Beam instead is going to lose that charge attack priority.
And OutOfPoket does win that charge attack priority. Azumarill, that's going to be really important down the stretch of this series. Now, an undercharge and an undercharge as well from Ilqm. Both of these trainers don't want to knock out with their Azumarill. They want to ideally get a bubble down. Which one of these trainers will secure it? I think it's going to be OutOfPoket that's going to exactly get the bubble down here. He has the energy banked up. He throws it into the opposing Shadow Drapion. He's going to get the knockout.
Precision play from both players, but OutOfPoket just a bit more precise there. Ilqm undercharging a little too much, allowing OutOfPoket to farm down and get the player up to get the knockout. For anyone confused at home why they didn't charge up their moves, is because if they take out their respective Azumarill, or their Azumarill gets taken out, then it allows the opponents to farm them down and get the energy needed to take out the final Pokemon.
It's fascinating because it didn't just come down to that interaction, but when you get in that situation, both of the trainers were going for the exact same result, right? Both those trainers were trying to undercharge their charge attack so that they could get a bubble down to have the exact energy to throw against the backline Pokemon of the opponent. And OutOfPoket outplayed Ilqm there to get the exact farm down that he needed with this Azumarill.
Just a sliver of a difference there, but that was the difference needed for that game number one. Ilqm now has to still win 3 more games here to reset the bracket. OutOfPoket just 2 games away from being your Atlanta regional champion.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think I've seen a game come down to 2 trainers have to out-undercharge each other. That might have been what it came down to.
But I don't know if I've seen a lot of things we saw this weekend, to be fair. But yes, you're right. I mean, that is a interesting situation, but both high-level players, knowing their specific win cons, both went for it too.
And one outperformed the other, which it just never really happens. There's a situation where you both have to undercharge, going for the exact same goal, and OutOfPoket just did it slightly better, and now he has a 1-game advantage. And remember, OutOfPoket's coming in on that winner's side of the bracket, so if he wins this series, he will be your 2025 Atlanta Grand Champion. He has the lead of the Shadow Sableye into the Shadow Drapion. This is a positive lead for Ilqm here.
Yeah, fantastic lead for Ilqm, and OutOfPoket, not really a lot of clear answers for the Shadow Drapion on the back. If you come into the mirror, you're going to tank a Aqua Tail, take a lot of Aqua Tail damage too because you're ahead on energy. Ilqm shielding the foul play bait though. That's going to be big for OutOfPoket.
Yeah, going instantly for that bait as soon as you got to Dazzling Gleam energy here. Now going for the crunch and gets protect shielded from OutOfPoket, knowing that now that he got the bait, you can actually win the ones against Shadow Drapion because you can take a crunch. I don't know now. Actually, now with this debuff on the crunch, looks like he tried to swap out and he didn't catch it. He doesn't love that. And this is what Ilqm is so good at. He banks 100 energy on that Shadow Drapion, has it lurking in the back. Once again, he did it.
And going to be able to resist all this energy from the Azumarill. It's going to be absolutely huge for him too. Expecting high-level plays from OutOfPoket to go for the catch. So instead of throwing the move, just keeps throwing Poison Stings.
And the crazy thing is Shadow Sableye can sometimes win the ones against Shadow Drapion, just going straight Dazzling Gleam. Even though he got that bait there, that debuff on the crunch was crucial. Forced the swap out and then gave Ilqm that opportunity to bank up all that energy and now bring in the Alolan Sand Slash to try to get a knockout into the Azumarill and even get some subsequent energy for the backline of OutOfPoket.
It's going to do a decent amount of energy for Azumarill. Azumarill should be able to hang on. Is the switch timer up yet? No, not quite. OutOfPoket does swap out and preserves all that energy. In comes the combo play with the foul play.
And now you are out of range of crunch. There is so much energy banked on that Drapion though. Maybe you throw double Aqua Tail. No, actually just going to try to go for the crunch. We're going to see if there is the no protect shield. I believe the Shadow Sableye is out of range, but it is also out of energy. So can you get this farm down with the Drapion, with the Poison Sting? You're not going to quite get it, so it is going to be a swap on the foul play.
Catching the resisted damage. Would have been resisted either way, but trying to maximize everything he can do. And that's why Ilqm has made it all the way to this grand finals. That's going to be huge for Ilqm and gets a little bit of energy as well. Drapion on the back though. There's still a lot of energy on Ilqm's Drapion. And let's not forget, play rough energy on the Azumarill for OutOfPoket.
Yeah, that's going to be so close in the in-game. Remember, there was one crunch thrown into the Shadow Sableye of OutOfPoket, but then he banked up 3 more Poison Stings before he pivoted and swapped. And another swap by OutOfPoket. Wait. Did he swap charge attack? He swapped capped. He swapped capped.
That's actually crazy if that's going to be what it is. Let's see if it happens. Yes, it is. Throws the play rough, gets the damage off, and catches all the energy on Ilqm.
Ridiculous. Azumarill had no health. He was able to come in, swap, charge attack priority, waste the energy of the opposing Azumarill. Now, all he has to do is endure some Aqua Tails using his last Protect Shield right here.
Ilqm might still have this though. He had over 2 Aqua Tails banked, and now he wins charge attack priority as well. He still has a shield. That means he gets to the double Aqua Tail first.
Yes, I believe you are correct there, Caleb. You're gonna get the last Protect Shield of the battle, but there is too much energy on that Shadow Drapion from Ilqm. That has been a theme for Ilqm. He's able to capitalize on the energy generation of the Shadow Drapion. He was 1 point to sing ahead, and now he's gonna tie up this series.
Wow, what a back and forth there too. Even after the cap, catch, throw from OutOfPoket, immaculate plays from both players.
The swap into the cap. We've seen that happen before. I think Inadequence famously did one in a high-level tournament, but how about...
where he won in Utrecht, actually.
Exactly. And now OutOfPoket, in the first battle, he was able to undercharge the opponent. Now he swap caps, where you swap in your own Pokemon, you throw your charge attack on charge attack priority, and you win that charge attack priority, so you're able to land that play rough damage on the opposing Azumarill, and also waste all of that Azumarill's energy because you had no health remaining.
Yeah, I mean, we're watching the actual games on the screen, but there's mind games happening behind the scenes as well. Absolutely crucial, huge play from OutOfPoket. Unfortunately, just not enough because Ilqm had so much energy on that Drapion. It was really started with the setup where he didn't actually throw the resistant move on the Azumarill, farmed up to 100 energy, then swapped his own lone Sand Slash and really set himself up for that backline matchup.
What a demonstration it has been of high-level Pokemon Go PvP play here in Atlanta. The largest Pokemon Go regional championship in North American history. We're locked in to game number 3. It's the Claydol versus the Lapras here. Now the Lapras is going to be throwing the resisted sideways, but it has that sparkling Aria that can do super effective chunks into the Claydol. And here comes the first Protect Shield of the match.
Bold line from Ilqm, double weak to Credilli, ABA weak to it in fact, but Credilli is hiding in the back. If Pocket can get that Credilli either on the Lapras later or Zuma, it's going to be really good position for him, but Ilqm does have that Drapion to help check it.
And you always want to Protect Shield the first one if you're Claydol, because now you always debuff with the Rock Tomb. Is there going to be a swap out? No. Throwing the Sparkling Aria right before that Rock Tomb is available. This is going to be super effective, but I don't think you're going to get the last Protect Shield from OutOfPoket here. Are you going to try to swap onto that Rock Tomb? No. Through a Mud Slap and then the Rock Tomb. This is probably going to be enough to knock out the Lapras. I don't know if it can endure.
Yeah, it's going to do a lot of damage. If you can get the Sparkling Aria off, that's going to be huge. Getting. Oh, he does get it. It is debuffed, though, so it's not... it's hard to say. It might take it out. Let's see if OutOfPoket is going to shield. No, not going to spend the final shield. Sparkling Aria connects and does knock out the Claydol. That's actually huge for Ilqm. And now he has a tough decision to make. This Drapion is hard to take out. He does come in with the Zuma though. Right call. In comes the Credilli. In comes the Drapion.
But the Drapion came out slower, so now you're going to be able to get to a Rock Tomb before the crunch comes out. That is huge for OutOfPoket here. Now you're going to be able to cripple the attack of this Shadow Drapion and set the tempo of this matchup.
Drapion used to be a great counter to grass types. Now it's just mostly a great generalist because look at this. Credilli able to dish out so much damage into the Drapion, and actually OutOfPoket shielding as well. Great call here too, because now he can preserve a lot of the health on Credilli, and it's going to be such a pain for Ilqm to take it out with the Azumarill.
And Ilqm actually throws the Aqua Tail here, which is going to be the worst attack. It still is going to be neutral, but he wanted to throw that before he got knocked out with the Rock Tomb, and then one more Bullet Seed, 2 more Bullet Seeds, knowing that he can farm up more energy there. Smart play from OutOfPoket. There's probably not going to be a Protect Shield here. Does Ilqm give up his last Protect Shield of the battle against this Rock Tomb? Yes!
Yeah, he doesn't want to be permanently debuffed on this Azumarill. Going to farm up some extra energy, and now comes the Azumarill, but this is super effective. Grass Knot coming through. I believe there's still a shield. No, OutOfPoket spent his final shield as well. Shields down on both sides.
And this is brutal. I thought Credilli was going to have a lot of play into this matchup, able to take the Protect Shield from Drapion, able to hang around long enough to throw a Grass Knot and chunk into this Azumarill and force the energy from the Azumarill as well.
This game's not over yet. You can still land a play rough against this Shadow Drapion, and let's not forget the Drapion on the side of Ilqm has energy, actually throws the Ice Beam instead for that chip damage.
And OutOfPoket doesn't love it there. I don't know which Shadow Drapion wins charge attack priority.
It's Ilqm's, actually.
It's Ilqm's. Yeah. We know that the Azumarill matchup goes out of pocket, but if you can just get this Shadow Drapion in range of Aqua Tail, which it's in range right now, it's all going to come down to charge attack priority. Can Ilqm's Shadow Drapion win charge attack priority in the mirror? Yes!
And it does. Is Aqua Tail enough? It should be. And Ilqm coming away with another victory when it looked like it was impossible for him with the Credilli in the back. Now 2-1 against OutOfPoket in this first grand final set. One more win will reset the bracket.
It's just crazy how many times Ilqm is able to bank up energy with Shadow Drapion and pivot out of the battle. He just bounces around, holds energy, and just closes games over and over again. I thought he was out of it too. That Credilli put in so much work in this matchup, and suddenly he's one game away from resetting this grand finals.
Yeah, and let's not forget, his Lapras just barely getting, what, 3 Sparkling Arias off against the Claydol too? Absolutely huge for them. I mean, how many times have Ilqm got away with throwing a move at 1 HP in this tournament? Just today alone has been probably at least 5 times.
Well, how about his matchup knowledge? Because he was in a static situation, playing out the leads of that Lapras into Claydol, and he knew that he could endure that last Rock Tomb to win the 1 Protect Shield situations with just 1 health remaining, and that helped him out in this series for sure. But now we know that Lapras can win the 1s versus that specific Claydol of OutOfPoket, and now we know the crucial charge attacks as well with, the crucial caps, because Azumarill wins on OutOfPoket side versus the opposing Azumarill of Ilqm.
Yep.
But Ilqm's Shadow Drapion will win the charge attack priority versus OutOfPoket's Shadow Drapion.
Yeah, we haven't seen the Alolan Sandslash matchup yet between the two of them, but that one might be a little bit harder to see because I don't know if either trainers, or I don't know if OutOfPoket's going to bring it. I think Ilqm's, it makes sense for him to bring it, but it's a little bit hard for OutOfPoket to bring it as we go into match point for Ilqm. Game number 4 here. It's going to be the Credilli into the Shadow jump, the Claydol into Shadow jump up. Now comes the Credilli.
And now you're going to be able to throw this Rock Tomb before the Acrobatics is available. Ilqm just letting it go here. I wonder if you're going to bank this energy and actually make a swap out maybe into your Shadow Drapion, able to take that Rock Tomb, no problem. Yep, there is that Shadow Drapion that's going to meet the Credilli, and now you can throw your Crunch before the Rock Tomb is available, but actually decides not to.
And that instant swap from OutOfPoket I actually really like a lot. He's making Ilqm think that he has a hard counter for the jump bluff, but instead he's completely disrespecting the jump bluff and is pretty much triple weak to it in this pivotal game for him. But Ilqm doesn't know that, and because OutOfPoket is playing so confidently with that swap, Ilqm might think it might be a Alolan Sandslash in back or a Drapion instead of the Sableye.
No debuff there. That means this next Crunch is definitely going to knock out. And now, how do you finish off the rest of this Drapion? Yes, you can come in with your Claydol, but you're definitely going to have to take a charge attack in return. At least the attack has dropped here, so you're going to take 1 Crunch, and it is debuffed, but it's still going to do a decent chunk of damage into this Claydol, and he's considering a Protect Shield right here.
I think it would be a good shield because you don't have an easy way to take out this jump bluff. Hopefully no debuff for OutOfPoket, and that is good for him because he doesn't get that debuff. This Sableye in the back doesn't have a lot of places to go though, and he only has 1 shield remaining.
Looks like a mutual pause there as both of those Pokemon were starting that battle, and now the Acrobatics is landing. I also agree with you. I liked that Protect Shield. Now you're getting a Protect Shield back against this jump bluff here. And do you ever try to go for a swap? The problem is your Shadow Sableye is going to be met up against the Azumarill in the back for Ilqm, and Ilqm's going to throw a parting Acrobatics first.
Yeah, OutOfPoket doesn't know what's in the back yet. He's trying to think, is it worth shielding the debuffed Acrobatics? No, but that does a huge chunk of damage, and in comes the Azumarill going for the aggressive Bubble Down.
Yeah, even if you land the Dazzling Gleam here, it's not going to be able to stop this Bubble Down from the Azumarill. So Ilqm is looking to be inches away from resetting this grand finals here. All you have to do is get this Bubble Down and get some charge attacks into that Claydol. Remember, you still have your jump buff remaining. I know it's low health, but it can't get knocked out from Mud Slap.
Yeah, and OutOfPoket knows he is out of this game. Looks like we have a bracket reset here in the Atlanta Go Regionals Grand Finals.
Ilqm able to take this series 3-1 and reset the Grand Finals. We're gonna have a rematch, another best-of-5 series. The winner of this one will determine your Atlanta Grand Champion.
Ilqm not discouraged at all after losing that first game against OutOfPoket. OutOfPoket playing so well too, but Ilqm making the adjustments he needs, and now we're just one best of 5 away from crowning our champion.
Ilqm has just been on an absolute tear on Championship Sunday. I know he's coming in on the loser side of the bracket, but this is 7 straight series that he has won now against some of the best trainers, not only in North America, but on the planet. And he looks comfortable. He just reset the bracket. OutOfPoket desperately wants to win a North American regional here. He's done it in the past. He had the San Juan victory. He's had the victory all the way back in 2023 as well against Inhofe in a grand finals as well. But both these trainers, you heard the trash talk, they both desperately want it, but just feels like Ilqm has so much momentum right now.
Yeah, I think Pocket said it'd be a miracle if he takes one best of 5 off of him. Well, miracle is achieved, so we'll see what the next milestone is if that's the case. OutOfPoket, though, playing really well and on point, too. Looking at the teams, though, do you think Ilqm has an advantage here, or is he just playing a little bit better?
It's crazy because, I mean, on paper, I don't think he has a huge advantage into this matchup. I think he's just playing really well with his Shadow Drapion. That seems to be the theme of his journey to me, is to be able to bank up this energy, swap out of the matchup, use it to close. There's games where he does that twice. Yep. He banks up energy, he swaps out, he unleashes the energy, he swaps out again, and then he unleashes more energy. It's just crazy. He's using the strategy of the old meta, the Azumarill Shadow Drapion, and it seems like OutOfPoket's using some more Claydol, Cradilly, the new meta, but it's not keeping up to that pacing of the Shadow Drapion old meta.
I will say there's 3 key differences here, right? OutOfPoket does win Charge Attack priority in his Azumarill mirror. That, though, in my opinion, I don't think is a significant advantage for OutOfPoket because they're 2 very bulky Pokemon that need to throw multiple moves. Ilqm, though, wins Charge Attack priority in the Shadow Drapion mirror. In my opinion, that's a much more crucial Charge Attack priority advantage for Ilqm because you spam off moves so much more, both Pokemon more frail as well, so the Aqua Tails threaten knockouts way more than the Play Rough would in a Azumarill mirror. The third factor, I think, is what's really limiting OutOfPoket is he can't reliably bring his Alolan Sandslash into the team of Ilqm, and that's why Ilqm keeps bringing this jump up. It's so strong into the team of OutOfPoket if OutOfPoket has to sit that Powder Snow Alolan Sandslash. But Alolan Sandslash is going to struggle against Azumarill on the side of Ilqm, and of course you lose that mirror matchup, and there's a Lapras as well. So I think that is the tough part that OutOfPoket is trying to figure out. How do I play around this matchup? Do I risk it? Do I gamble and bring the Powder Snow Alolan Sandslash knowing that I have 3 bad matchups into it?
Because so far, he hasn't done that, and instead, he's been bringing the Claydol, he's been bringing the Cradilly, and he just can't get his Rock Tomb grasp on that slippery Shadow Drapion, because you keep thinking that that Cradilly or Claydol is in a positive situation where it's debuffing the opponent and winning some neutral matchups, but then it's just a fluid battle, and Ilqm is just swapping out and then swapping back in, and then that debuff didn't really matter because it got cleared off in the end. It's just really hard to overcome that. And the thing is, I also think OutOfPoket is playing fantastic. That first game, he out-undercharged Ilqm to win the first battle. Game number 2, he swapped capped. He swapped into a charge attack priority and wasted all that energy, but it didn't even matter. Ilqm was still able to reverse sweep that matchup. And here we are, we're in game 1 of the grand finals bracket reset. We got Shadow Drapion versus Shadow Jumpluff, and this is not the same matchup as it used to be. Shadow Jumpluff can stay in and win this matchup.
It's still a solid lead for OutOfPoket, and he avoids that jump off on his backline, which is really strong into it. Doesn't bring the Powder Snow Alolan Sandslash, which I think is a good call, because it's so hostile for him to bring it into Ilqm's team. Ilqm, actually, if you look at his team, is actually very weak to that in the lead. If he actually brought it, he would have been pretty weak. Has to bring in Drapion even to handle it. But
and gets the bait, though.
Oh, and gets the bait, realizing that OutOfPoket has been shielding a lot of these moves. Oh, actually goes for double aerials instead. Now OutOfPoket is not going to shield, trying to save the shields for his backline Pokemon.
Yeah, I think Ilqm doesn't want to shield the Jumpluff. He says, worst case scenario, I'll come in with the Azumarill. But this time, actually coming in with the Shadow Drapion. And that's fascinating to me, because most times he would just come in with the Azumarill here to soak up all this energy. But instead, there's so much energy on OutOfPoket Shadow Drapion. Now he has to soak it up on his own Drapion.
All right, and in comes the Azumarill, knowing that Ilqm reached the Aqua Tail, thinking that Ilqm might have thrown the Aqua Tail right on Charge Attack priority against OutOfPoket's Drapion, because he had the double as well. But Ilqm patient as always, does not throw, and now gets the debuff as well against the Zoomer on the first crunch.
That's huge, but now, unless you Protect Shield, there comes the Protect Shield. But at least for OutOfPoket's favor, he has this Shadow Drapion switch locked in here. Can he finally secure a knockout that he's been trying to get for, it seems like, 3 straight battles? I feel like this Drapion might throw this crunch and still get out of there once again to hold on to energy.
Yeah, and again, you're going to win Charge Attack priority. The Drapion has so much play even into the backline matchup. Now swaps out. Oh my gosh, this is going to be such an aggressive bubble down from Ilqm, and this energy has so much play into the team of OutOfPoket. He's banking on no Alolan Sandslash, which means that energy is going to go super effective, or at least neutral against everything on the side of OutOfPoket, forcing OutOfPoket to swap in the Shadow Sableye. Ilqm goes straight for the play rough. Does OutOfPoket shield it?
No, yes, he does Protect Shield it, but that switch in to get the chip damage with the play rough is so crucial. But the thing is, you're not going to be able to outpace. You're going to need the bait here. And deciding to go for the Dazzle game, decide to go for the knockout. I actually don't think this is going to be enough to knock out, but can this Azumarill hang on with enough health to get a charge attack? It comfortably does.
Yeah, Azumarill, one of the most reliable Pokemon in Great League, and for a good reason. Play rough is going to come through. It's going to knock out the Shadow Sableye. What can OutOfPoket do? Only a little bit health left, but go for aggressive farm down. Ilqm comes in and has the Aqua Tail. However, OutOfPoket gets it off first, grabs the final shield from Ilqm.
The reflexes from Pocket. There was a swap, aggressive swap, and then the swap out too. Ridiculous plays from OutOfPoket here to take that energy, and doesn't look like you're gonna look for a charge or undercharge here. Gonna go for the back-to-back Aqua Tails, and that is it for Ilqm. Gonna be able to 3-ball flex, even though OutOfPoket played that in-game scenario beautifully. It was just not enough.
I think OutOfPoket needs to consider a lone Sandslash, right? It's way too hard to deal with the entire core of Ilqm's team that he keeps swapping in and out, right? You got the Jump Love, the Drapion having the advantage in the Mirror 2 Jump Love, just so strong into everything on the team of OutOfPoket. You got the Drapion into the Jump Love, and it wasn't enough. But if you look at that team from Ilqm, completely disrespecting a lone Sandslash, Jump Up in the lead, powder into a could have been a Power Stone Alolan Sandslash, would have to swap in a Drapion, would be behind energy, also would lose that matchup too. But the mind games here is, does he trick OutOfPoket to bring it, and now he goes strong into Alolan Sandslash?
The thing is, Ilqm is only playing 4 Pokemon.
Yep.
He's only playing Shadow Drapion, Azumarill, Shadow Jumpluff, and Lapras.
He threw in a Alolan Sandslash here or there.
Yes, he has. But for the most part,
yeah,
he's only bringing that Pokemon. And yes, if he brings in the Alolan Sandslash too, it's not terrible. Like, these matchups are not terrible for the Alolan Sandslash.
Yep.
Worst case scenario is a Lapras or a Mirror Alolan Sandslash, but that's not the end of the world for Alolan Sandslash. If that is a key to victory, to be stronger against these team compositions, I say you bring it. There's not that much downside.
Yeah, it's not hard counter. I agree with you there. But if it doesn't win a lot of matches for you too, it does put OutOfPoket in a tough situation. I do think though he is going to consider it. Let's see if he can or not. 1-0 for Ilqm in this grand finals. It's going to be the Shadow Drapion Mirror, and there's the Alolan Sandslash back. Mirror teams here in game number 2 of the grand finals.
Wow, okay, so now we have the Shadow Drapion Mirror. We know that Ilqm is winning charge attack priority in this situation. OutOfPoket decides to throw his energy first. Ilqm knows he can be more patient with his energy because he can manipulate the charge attack priority.
And this is going to be tough too. Ilqm has not been throwing on charge attack priority, and OutOfPoket's been trying to catch the Aqua Tail. Does Ilqm just throw now when he has the Aqua Tail, or does he not? And you can see, oh, doesn't throw, and OutOfPoket actually throwing the Aqua Tail, forcing the shield from Ilqm, even though Ilqm wins that charge attack priority situation. Even if OutOfPoket catches on the Zoomer though, it's not the worst case situation for OutOfPoket. Tries to catch, unfortunately not able to. And again,
how many times does that happen?
And in comes the Alolan Sandslash.
That's so risky. A lot of these trainers, I feel like it's such an advantage to win charge attack priority on your Shadow Drapion, because how many times are you forcing these trainers to swap out of the matchup into a Azumarill and then giving the ramp-up opportunity for Ilqm to get to 100 energy? Once again, he is loaded with that Shadow Drapion in the back.
And this Shadow Alolan Sandslash is going to work on the Alolan, the Azumarill yet again. Azumarill so strong in this meta, but this matchup for Ilqm is so strong as well. I know he said if Ilqm wins this, everyone's going to be using Lapras, but I think a lot of people are going to be using Shadow Shadow Call, Alolan Sandslash just for this matchup alone.
Absolutely, and the Drill Run is going to land into the Azumarill. Both of the timers are coming up shortly after this play rough. Both of these trainers will have their switch available. This will not knock out the Alolan Sandslash, so will you see a pivot from either of these trainers? Yes, a double pivot. No, one pivot, then the counter pivot from the Alolan Sandslash. This is the Powder Snow version into the Azumarill of Ilqm.
It's much harder for OutOfPoket to win this matchup, but he has a shield advantage. However, let's not forget, Ilqm, 100 energy on that Shadow Drapion. It's going to be a really tough roll ahead for OutOfPoket still, even with the shield advantage.
And how are you going to waste all that energy? You still have 3 Pokemon remaining.
Right?
Yes, you still have 3 Pokemon remaining. You still have your Shadow Drapion. If somehow you can bring it into the matchup, these matchups are so slow that you will get back to your timer again. So that is the advantage for both of these trainers. But besides this Alolan Sandslash and Azumarill, all of the other Pokemon are getting dangerously low in health. It's all about how OutOfPoket can deal with that 100 energy from Shadow Drapion.
And this is so tough for OutOfPoket. If he shields here, he could get Combo Blade from the Drapion. Chooses to let it go. Low health bars on all his remaining Pokemon. Drapion still has a little bit on his side. Ilqm going to save the shield here too, because he knows even though he wins Charge Attack priority against the Drapion, if you have 0 shields, it's not going to matter as long as he gets 1 move.
And then swap. Oh, I love that. Now he has a charge attack, so he can throw on charge attack priority here. Does he throw it blind? Does he throw it into the Alolan Sandslash? No, he actually throws the Poison Sting in head instead. Now this is going to be an Aqua Tail. Remember, there are 2 Aqua Tails banked for Ilqm. There is 2 Protectiles remaining for OutOfPoket.
And OutOfPoket cannot swap out. He's locked into this matchup, but Ilqm can still potentially catch a move. I think he might even outpace here, but the switch timer is going to be really whittled down with all these charges that he's thrown back and forth.
He's at the tail now. I believe that Ilqm is at the Aqua Tail right now with that Protect Shield. Does he throw it? Yes. I think OutOfPoket can't swap out, so no, actually he throws 2 more, and he knows he's going to win charge attack priority. The patience from Ilqm there to go for the charge attack priority on the Aqua Tail.
The patience, the precision, the counting. Ilqm is only a few Poison Stings away from taking another game off of OutOfPoket. Going for the Poison Sting down, and he is 1 Poison Sting away from the next Aqua Tail. Goes for the Crunch instead, and that's going to put Ilqm up 2-0 in this Grand Finals. He's won 5 straight games.
5 straight wins for Ilqm, and is 1 game away from being your Atlanta Grand Champion. And for him as a trainer, that would be 2 straight regional championships in Toronto. He was first place. Can he get first place here in Atlanta again?
I don't care if you think Ilqm's the best player in the world or not. He should at least be in the conversation, putting on a clinic here in Atlanta in this Grand Finals and just playing out of his mind.
With Shadow Drapion.
Shadow Drapion.
Over and over and over again, he's able to bank this energy, and he fully swept with the Shadow Drapion once again. We all know it's coming, but it's impossible to stop.
Man, what a series so far. We talk about Shadow Drapion and Azumarill being strong in the last meta. In a way, it's even stronger right now because there's a lack of Digger Speed. Shadow Marowak's now around. Claydol's fine, but Claydol has its own problems in itself, right? It's a fantastic Pokemon, but it doesn't have the same fast attack pressure as the Mud Slap of Shadow Marowak. And it's bulky, but it doesn't have the bulk of Digger Speed.
Right.
And Ilqm just making quick work of his opponents, utilizing this core time and time again. And that's the tough part, right? When you bring the Powder Snow Alolan Sandslash, what can you do? And in the Drapion lead there too as well. As we're going into game number 3 here, this is match point for Ilqm. It's going to be the Claydol into the Lapras. And again, OutOfPoket is going to bring that Powder Snow Alolan Sandslash, but no jump off in the back for Ilqm.
And remember how this played out earlier on. There was a 1 Protect Shield versus 1 Protect Shield, and Lapras held on with 1 health to secure victory in that situation. Are these trainers going to play it a little differently this time? Looks like Ilqm is actually going to throw up the Protect Shield on this Rock Tomb, but OutOfPoket saved his.
Ilqm going to shield up here. Debuff is going to come through. I assume going to throw the Sparkling Aura before the Rock Tomb is reached. Actually, could have been on charge attack priority. Hard to say. Probably not, actually, because Lapras would lose that in against the Claydol. Going to force out the first shield from OutOfPoket. OutOfPoket is going to farm up a little bit extra before the next Sparkling Aura is reached. Really great timing from OutOfPoket. Does Ilqm let this go? Could go for a bubble down here because he doesn't want to go shieldless on that Shadow Drapion. Oh wait, again, he wins that in the zeros. We saw this earlier.
Yes, we saw this earlier. No, in the ones, he's able to hold on barely to get to this last Sparkling Aria to knock out the Claydol. Now Ilqm does have switch advantage here, but gives 1, 2, 3 Powder Snows worth of an advantage to OutOfPoket.
He's got to come in with the Zuma, but this means the Drapion from OutOfPoket can also be ahead on energy if he swaps to it first. Ilqm does win Charge Attack priority, but he can't win anything if he's behind on energy.
I mean, yes, exactly. How is that Drapion going to get ahead on energy? That is the question, because you don't want to come in and try to swap into that Drapion and take a drill run. That would be absolutely devastating. Alolan Sandslash can win this matchup. Actually, it looks like OutOfPoket is in a fantastic situation to get a point on the board in this series.
Let's see if he could do it here. Play Rough's going to come through. You don't really want to catch this on the Shadow Drapion as well. Going to let this damage go through, expecting the Drapion in the back has been so reliable for Ilqm in these games, and he knows because he didn't swap out earlier. Oh, Ilqm going for the Ice Beam. This is a clever play by him.
And now, do you Protect Shield? This could have been the Play Rough as well, because you had the energy for the Play Rough, but calling that it could be the Ice Beam lets this go, and now the Shadow Drapion is coming in for Ilqm. And the thing is, you're already in range of Aqua Tail if you're OutOfPoket. He's looking a little stressed here because that Ice Beam did so much damage. All Ilqm needs to do is get the back-to-back Aqua Tails.
Can OutOfPoket swap out? This is a real question because you win the Charge Attack priority. The Ice Beam was enough to threaten knockout range with this Aqua Tail. Pocket is going to throw up his final shield. The next Aqua Tail's not going to be enough to take out this Drapion on the side of Ilqm. Ilqm has a decision to make. Do you shield or not? Let's it go.
You don't need the shield. You could just let this go and still get your Aqua Tail here. And the Sandslash is 1, 2. It can come out here. Does you see the swap? Does he reach for it? No. He's thinking he can't reach for it. And now the Aqua Tail is going to come through. You are 1 Poison Sting away from the next Aqua Tail as well.
All right, let's see what happens here. Powder Snow is going to come through. You're going to get it before the... Oh, no! Gets the Aqua Tail through as well. And that's disastrous for OutOfPoket. Azumarill still healthy in the back as well. And just in the red at this point in time, too. I don't think 1 drill run's enough. Oh, actually, it's a lot closer. Oh, no, you still have a shield.
You still have 1 Protect Shield remaining. That bubble is going to land. That means Ilqm just won 6 straight games to become your Atlanta Grand Champion!
What a performance from Ilqm this entire weekend in Atlanta, and what a performance it was in this Grand Finals.
Ilqm looking like a main character here of the 2025 Pokemon GO Championship Series. These trainers are talking right now, but at this moment, Ilqm just secured back-to-back regional championships.
Doing his best LNDS Core Lash impression for sure. What an impressive run from Ilqm. The players are talking, the judges are chatting too, so we will keep you all updated on what the situation may be. But what a series so far. I mean, even if there is a rematch, he has still put on such a show here in the Grand Finals. Matches under review. We'll keep you all updated on that one as well. I was kind of lost in the sauce there too, so I might have missed something too. What do you think is being reviewed here?
You know, this was a different game in concept because a lot of these games, there's been so many swaps, so many interactions. But this game was a little more basic. Both the trainers played out the leads and let the Lapras win just barely, the Claydol go down, the Alolan Sandslash came in, Powder Snow down, the Alolan Sandslash played against the Azumarill. There was a swap by Drapion, a counter swap by Drapion after an Ice Beam. There wasn't a ton of interactions that I saw that would have been the culprit, but we'll let you know as soon as we know. I thought OutOfPoket was in a favorable position, and it looks like we're getting word that there was something with Pocket towards the end with the Drapion mirror matchup.
And that is actually pretty crucial in my opinion, because if he lagged there too, then it means that Ilqm could have maybe farmed up a little extra before getting to more energy, right? Because he landed 1 Aqua Tail that was crucial in the end against the Alolan Sandslash.
Can I point something else out?
Yeah.
He also was so close to Poison Sting down Ilum's Drapion. That Drapion had no health.
That's true.
If he missed the Poison Sting, and that Poison Sting was a knockout on the opposing Drapion, then all of that energy goes to waste.
Yeah, and the real question though is Ilqm still had a shield on the Azumarill. Is the Azumarill able to still win against the Alolan Sandslash if he doesn't get the Aqua Tail off.
Right. Yeah, it's just really hard to determine. Our talented judges are looking at it right now, and as soon as we hear anything more, or if maybe we can look at that in-game interaction between those Shadow Drapions, I thought OutOfPoket had a great position there because he had the Alolan Sandslash into the Azumarill, and I felt like he could set the pace of when he wanted to swap in with the Shadow Drapion. But the thing is, he swapped at a moment where he was going to take an Ice Beam, and that put him behind in that situation. So let's see if we see anything here.
All right, so let's see if both Drapion are getting moves through. 1, 2. Oh, it does look like Pockets might have been half a turn behind. It's hard to tell. It does look like he was half a turn behind, which means that he probably would have reached out Aqua Tail there. It's tough to say, right? Because at the same time, Ilqm kind of has to throw, otherwise he's going to get Poison Sting down, and he wins the charge attack priority in that situation.
Right, yeah. We know that Ilqm wins charge attack priority, and then yeah, he was going for a Poison Sting down to OutOfPoket, and the interesting thing is...
Oh yeah, that's actually a good point, because that's one less Poison Sting worth of damage as well on the Drapion.
Yeah, exactly. So OutOfPoket was going for that Poison Sting down, and the weird thing is, I believe Ilqm was the Shadow Drapion that counter-swapped, right? So it's usually the Pokemon entering the battlefield that gets a little bit behind. I believe OutOfPoket was already on the battlefield.
Well, the difference is they had already thrown Aqua Tail, so neither were.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like they were their attacks, their fast attacks were synced up.
Yeah, gotcha.
I do really like. I mean, looking back at that match, okay, maybe we get another chance to take a look at it here, as the judges are going to slow it down for not just us but everyone.
Yeah,
so
let's
count
see.
with us here.
Yeah, there's one. Oh, that second one for Pocket seems slower than the second one from Ilqm. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I see that too. So I think the real question is, does it impact the outcome of the match or not?
It's so hard to tell. I mean,
it's hard to tell.
There's so many things that impact winning, that the fact that there's oftentimes in this tournament where we think one trainer is going to win, and then some small subtle change and the other trainer comes out of nowhere and wins. So a little subtle change might seem like it's nothing in the moment, but it can really change everything. So there's so many things to think of, so many situations to mull through. Even in that situation where the game is literally almost over, it's probably 95% complete.
Yep, definitely. I mean, we've seen so many close games this entire weekend, so even the smallest half-second delay can make a difference in these various matchups. But I gotta say, looking back on that match too, I thought it was a really smart play from Ilqm to throw that Ice Beam, right? Doesn't even matter if it's not play rough. And it didn't get shielded from OutOfPoket. If it gets shielded, great. If it doesn't get shielded, now you're threatening a knockout with Aqua Tail. And so even though he's behind the energy, he won charge attack priority, and 2, he could tank the Aqua Tail damage much better in that mirror matchup.
Right, exactly, because then you're coming in full health and you can take the Aqua Tail, but as soon as you landed that Ice Beam, now you're in range of Aqua Tail, and that's what made it so clunky for OutOfPoket, where it did seem like he was in an advantageous situation with a Alolan Sandslash into the Azumarill, and then maybe having a little Alolan Sandslash to fight against the Drapion, or even pivoting Drapion whenever he wanted, because it was hard for Ilqm to pivot his Drapion against an Alolan Sandslash.
Yeah. What a series, though, as we will keep you all updated on the results from the judges as they were working hard behind the scenes. But Shadow Ball Alolan Sandslash, I think at some point this weekend I said, I probably prefer the Powder Snow. It does look a lot better. But just for the Azumarill matchup alone, that's such an advantage, because there's not a lot of things that could tank that damage well. There's not a lot of Steel types, right? And there's not a lot of Fire types, and even if you're resisting that damage, you're taking super effective bubbles, right? So that's not really a great way to soak up that damage either. But the Powder Snow Alolan Sandslash just has a disadvantage in that matchup, as we saw in this series too. But Ilqm taking advantage of that Shadow Call Alolan Sandslash has paid so much dividends to him in these various matchups, and just made it really hard for opposing opponents to even run the Powder Snow Alolan Sandslash into him. Yeah, and I mean, if we have a chance, actually maybe we could look at day 2 usage again, because Sandslash was quite high. It's really nice against the opposing Sandslash as well, right? Where you have that mirror battle where you can have the Shadow Claw versus the Powder Snow. We saw that play out between Nighttime Clasher and Ilqm, and once again, a moment where we thought Ilqm's going to be eliminated, and now he has won 6 straight battles and is about to be crowned champion, just depending on how this review goes for him. Yeah, and even if it's rematch, he's still up 2 games to 0, right? So that's a tough spot either way for OutOfPoket. I mean, OutOfPoket's been in tough positions before too, so not saying I'm counting him out just yet, but Ilqm has a significant advantage in this series. It looks like maybe there's going to be a rematch, and yes, it is a rematch. Rematch ruled by judge due to the loss Poison Sting. So here we go. We got another game on our hands in this grand finals. How does OutOfPoket pull off the reverse sweep? He's already locked in, though. He's already thought of a plan here to start his comeback.
And this has happened in the past where, say, a trainer, I remember Mountain Dugong, seemed like he was eliminated. Suddenly, he rematched. He won a battle. He won another battle. OutOfPoket's not out of it yet. If he gets 1 point on the board here, get a little momentum, suddenly you can still reverse sweep this series. You can still become the Atlanta champion. OutOfPoket has an uphill battle, but it's not over for him yet.
Fun fact, this is not the first time players in our circuit have been in this spot before. Not these two players, but I recall, I believe it was Rick Flareon against They Love Jai in an Oceania regional. I think won the first game, loses 3 games to They Love Jai, loses the next 2 in the bracket reset, and then Rick Flareon actually pulls off the 3-0 reverse sweep against They Love Jai in that grand finals. So it's not impossible, and it will make for amazing broadcast content. Let's see if OutOfPoket can do it as well.
Pocket said this is the most locked in he has felt. He said obviously his North American International Championship, he was playing at that level, but he feels comfortable with the way he plays all of these Pokemon. He said maybe it's not his favorite team ever, but the way he's able to adapt in this meta with these Pokemon and the comfortability, all that practice, all the screaming, 2 to 3 weeks, every single day is leading him to this moment to give him the opportunity to reverse sweep Ilqm and still get a chance at the championship right here.
And Ilqm working so hard this entire season, over the years as well, for his first title. All that hard work does not go to waste in your very next tournament, and we're seeing it right here in this grand finals. Here we go, match point for Ilqm yet again. It's going to be the Lapras into the Shadow Drapion.
And this is okay for the Lapras. We know that the side waves are resisted. I've said it before, but the Lapras can win this situation. All you need to do is properly protect shield, a crunch, and you can win the ones. But the Shadow Drapion can win the zeros here.
This backline looks tough for OutOfPoket. No debuff's going to come through on that first crunch. If you look at the backlines, if it lines up for Ilqm, it could be good for him. And the thing is, if he shields and wins this one shield situation, it is not easy to get rid of this Lapras.
No, it is not at all. And here comes the first Sparkling Aria. Does get protection up. Ilqm's probably going to match it. Yes, he does match it. You don't really have a great option to swap into. Usually, OutOfPoket's been bringing Azumarill every single battle. You can't swap into your own Azumarill to try to soak this Sparkling Aria. Instead, swapping into the Alolan Sandslash. And once again, Ilqm has the opportunity not only to throw energy, but he can bank up some more energy as well, or even stay in if he wants.
Yeah, these double resisted Powder Snow is why it's so hard for OutOfPoket to have advantage here. Oh, and catching the Drill Run and getting the bubble through on the Zero. A huge play from Ilqm.
High-level mechanics there to swap on the charge attack to get a full 3-turn fast attack through. That is the advantage of having a 1-turn fast attack Pokemon like Lapras. You can really time your switches perfectly to give you a little bit of energy advantage. High-level play from Ilqm.
And now Play Rough is reached. Ilqm's going to try to throw it against the Alolan Sandslash, try to get rid of it, as it is pretty annoying for the Drapion in the back. Actually throws on bad timing on purpose to try to get a little bit extra energy. I don't actually know if the Play Rough is enough to knock out, but yeah, it does knock out. So a huge calculated play again from Ilqm. 1
Protect Shield remaining for both of these trainers. You still have the Shadow Drapion lurking in the back for Ilqm. Here comes OutOfPoket Shadow Drapion. Gonna try to bank up some energy here. The thing is, the crunch isn't gonna be enough to knock out here. So OutOfPoket's kind of shaking his head. How am I gonna finish off this Azumarill? I don't want to swap in the Sableye and take a charge attack there. I have no path to knocking this thing out.
And you see Ilqm just throwing the Play Rough right away, trying to avoid any potential catch opportunities for OutOfPoket. It is going to connect. Switch timer is back up. Ilqm still has a Sparkling Aria in the back, but comes the Shadow Drapion. It is going to outpace to the crunch before the Dazzling Gleam is reached against OutOfPoket. OutOfPoket has a decision to make. Do you let the crunch go? It's a lot of neutral damage, but you don't want to get debuffed as well. It's going to let the first crunch go. Can he even do anything? And insult to injury, defense is dropped.
The problem is, and as he just goes for it, he is also a Shadow Claw behind, so he can't go for double Gleam. So he's just going for it, and he's gonna land it in the Ilqm and secure, no, not secure the knockout, almost inches away from victory there against the Shadow Drapion, and he just has to let his Sableye go. A 3-ball flex in game number 3. Ilqm, once again, is your 2025 Atlanta Grand Champion.
There's no stopping this man here in the circuit. Wins back-to-back regionals on the verge of defeat throughout multiple points in this weekend.